going on, guys? Arekkz here and welcome back to another video for Bleeding Edge. If you caught the Nidhogger character guide we uploaded the other day, then you're likely back again for more. But in the event you didn't, then I'm super excited to be teaming up with the awesome people at Ninja Theory to bring you a series of Bleeding Edge guides on the run up to the playable beta on February 14th. Massive shout out to Ninja Theory for very kindly sponsoring this series and giving me access to the game so I could record all of this for you guys. So if you're excited for Bleeding Edge, or you just want to learn more, then be sure to check back daily for a look at another one of this game's colourful cast of augmented anti-heroes. Today, we're turning our attention to El Bastardo, another one of the 3 tanks in Bleeding Edge. El Bastardo is a really interesting one because he not only has the survivability you'd expect of a tank, but he also has a ton of aggressive options. In fact, his survival ultimately hinges on his aggression, since it's through his attacks that he's able to survive. So for those of you that want to live on the front lines, rush down the opponent and still live to tell the tale, then this might be the hero for you. El Bastardo is able to generate defensive shields through combat, as well as siphon energy from those around him to further empower himself. Pair that with his ability to quite literally dive into battle, and you have a hero that you really don't want to be on the receiving end of. Starting off with your basic abilities, you have your machetes on X. Pressing X 4 times will complete the combo, and this will see you slice and dice through your enemies. However, in doing so, you'll also begin stealing their energy for your life support backpack. See, El Bastardo's passive is life support. This provides defensive shields, which are further powered up by damage from both your machetes and your specials. So as you can begin to see, the more you attack, the more you feed the shields, and by extension, the more you are able to stay alive. What's more, if a melee attack is absorbed by your shields, you won't flinch in the process, so this allows you to get up in the face of those pesky DPS heroes and quite literally tank their hits, and retaliate without having to deal with the typical hit stun that many other heroes experience. Of course, it should go without saying that you too have the ability to parry melee attacks. I haven't mentioned this in every single guide so far, since this is something that is available to practically every hero, bar Makuto, so keep this in mind in combat. But honestly, since El Bastardo can absorb hits, you're much better off just attacking through the damage. Now moving on from there to talk about your specials, you have 3 here to choose from. The first of which is Leap of Faith, and this is one of your primary moves for initiating fights, or chasing down fleeing enemies. With this, you will leap to the location of a locked on enemy, and you stun them on impact. If you do this without lock on, then you'll simply jump where you're facing, meaning you can use this to get out of danger should you need to. Additionally, if you want to jump to someone above you, perhaps up a ledge, then if you jump first, then initiate Leap of Faith, you can go up ledges. So if you're trying to chase down, say, a Zero Cool, who happens to Nitro Boost away, this is a perfect way to chase them down. Next up you have Death Spiral, the ultimate Beyblade move. With this, you become a spinning sword tornado, you spin around with your blades, and you have complete control over your movement, so you can of course move around and attack people in the process. Since attacks from your machetes feed your life support, doing this in a group of enemies is a great way to land a load of hits, and just cause some mayhem in the process. Your final special is Empower, and this is really important. When activated, you will steal life from nearby enemies and grant this to your life support shields. So if you really want to generate a load of shields, then using Empower in the middle of a group of enemies, followed by Death Spiral, will see you become a pretty unstoppable force. So if you're playing El Bastardo, make sure to play as aggressively as possible. Now let's talk about your super abilities. You have 2 to choose from here. First up, you have Overload. When activated, this will, as the name suggests, overload your life support shields, and you'll do constant damage to nearby enemies. So if paired with Leap of Faith, and you dive into the middle of a big fight, surrounded by enemies, and you pop this, then you'll be dishing out additional damage alongside your regular attacks. Alternatively, you have Unbreakable. This one is an absolute nightmare for the opposing team. Once activated, you become physically unkillable for the next 5 seconds, and if you deal damage, you can further extend the duration. Keep in mind, however, that if you go into bonus time, it then begins consuming your life support shields, but once it comes to an end, you'll then be granted further shields based on the damage that you did. So with this, you can really use it to make a push. If you need to lock down an objective, perhaps your team is split up, diving in with Unbreakable will allow you to go into a battle even if you're outnumbered. Just make sure you keep an eye on your timer, since once it's out, you may need to make a tactical retreat. But that, my friends, is pretty much it for El Bastardo. Definitely one of the most popular tanks, partly due to his ability to be hyper aggressive and yet still survive in the process. He can be a right pain to deal with if you're on the receiving end, so get those combos down and you'll be doing work for your team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Remember to keep it locked if you're excited for Bleeding Edge, as we'll be checking out all the other characters over the coming week so that when the beta drops, you're ready to dive in and have some fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.